All right, so I want to make just another extension of the last video that I made, particularly the second point where I was talking about algorithmic trading become self-destructive. I've had this idea for a while, and it's a phenomenon that you actually see within data science. I used to be a software developer, for anyone who cares about my background. But when you train data, right, when you're training for what features, what attributes, what correlations to spot, and then either train data from or to use as a part of your own model, right? These quirks, these things that define your constraints, define your borders, define, what separates something that could be ambiguous. We have all these things in the market like signals like RSI and MACD and OBV, stochastic metrics and blah, 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 blah. If we take, your typical RSI, which we've memed a lot on the channel, but from a data standpoint, it does have a ton of validity and a ton of application. Typically, you'll see this being 0, this will be 70, and this will be 30. And the idea is that as you're oscillating through this, eventually you'll have your oversold or your overbought territories. And this is where you'll see algorithms and you'll see humans react to the oversold. And because of that, they'll begin to buy, right? And mathematically, it makes sense. It's not like it's some special number by any means, but it makes sense. It's just a percentage-based momentum indicator. And depending on which direction of the trade you're taking, you're going to react based on that. It's just numbers, right? There's nothing emotional to it. There's nothing that is esoteric. It's just straight up. This is a point where mathematically there should be a reversal if that's what's meant to happen. Over time, these metrics can erode, where as time goes on and as new financial instruments are introduced and all these different just erosive things begin to take shape, or new trends or new perspectives, it may go from 30 to 25. That might become the norm. Oversold is at 25, right? And overbought is going to be at 60, which is not linear and change, by the way. This is -5, this is -10. So 10 years from now, this could be the new norm, where 25 is oversold, 60 is overbought. So now you have to shift this line downward and this one upward. But if we go back to the original thought of algorithmic trading, pulling data from an era where overbought was at 70 and oversold was at 30, if you have just tons of fuck you money from institutions that are using antiquated data for the way they place trades, whether you're a bull or a bear, this can go the other way. This can be catastrophic, especially as, data becomes faster, data becomes more efficient, data becomes more just used. Data has been exponentially incorporated into everything we do. Literally everything, and no one really understands that. Advertisements, running habits, like all these things that we provide data about are being used and mathematically parsed and then eventually utilized for either good or bad, which is relative in itself. But if there's a rogue institution that hasn't kept up to speed with what, if the industry is going off RSI, if the industry 20 years from now decides that RSI at 60 is considered overbought and RSI at 25 is oversold, if a rogue industry who has enough money to move charts in such a way that whatever they decide is right, and they're going to throw money at it, if this rogue player is still using a data set where 70 and 30 are the go-to metrics, then if you're dealing with a volatile period in the market, or even, a consistent period in the market, and they throw enough money at a signal crossing 70 or 30, not because of organic means, but because that's what their data set is pulling from, any period where 70 and 30 were considered the standard, you can prompt a crash this way. This is one simple and not to scale example, because there are dozens and hundreds, actually, maybe even thousands of other indicators that have the same effect that can create catastrophes. It's something so simple yet so dangerous, because it's just where data is being pulled from. If you're pulling from a time where the standard was X, and then you convert to a new era where the standard is Y, but someone is behind and they're pulling from X, and then they have an executive function where it could cause systemic damage. This is an example. And it doesn't just have to be a price chart. This could be tapering. This could be any form of sector rotations. It could be just literally anything. And this isn't limited to just stocks. This is not limited to markets. This is all over the place, where the lines that we consider to judge by are moved without us realizing it, and then our old habits try to apply old standards to something that's new, and the result can be catastrophic. That's what I'm getting at with this. So I hope it gives something for everyone to kind of think on. I'm going to be making a lot more videos about this, so thank you so much. I'm out.